today is the 2nd of March 2015. Tomorrow I will have owned this field for a year, and this little bit of field and a little bit of woodland. I've owned it for a year, and so I'm down this end just to see what I've done in a year. I'll take a little tour around, but it looks a lot more like a field than it did a year ago. This is part of the hedge line I planted last year, and it's just starting to come into leaf. Some of it's not done so well. I mean, this one here has got quite a lot of dieback on it, but it has got new growth. Some of it has died completely, which is unfortunate. And here's one here. I mean, it's pretty tough conditions for it. Got to be fair. But that's completely dead, so that hasn't survived. Some of it's been attacked by animals. Like the deer, if the deer can get to it. But a lot of it's looking healthy, so generally speaking, I've probably had, there's another one there. Oh, it's got a bit of life down the bottom. But yeah, a lot of dieback, and it seems to be predominantly the hawthorn that's died back, which is odd because I've planted it in an area which has got a lot of hawthorn. So anyway, we're on to the new year's growth, this year's growth. Sorry, this year's planting. So fingers crossed that'll work. I've got to do a bit more mulching, so I'll get on with that in a minute. This area of Blackthorn was rough laid last year. Got in here, literally smacked it over, just laid it down, no binding at all. As you can see, as a result of that, it's really thickening up, because it was just super gappy underneath. It looked like that bit there. If you just go under there, it was like that, and you could see all the way through it. It's very gappy, very windy, wobbly. So thickening out for wildlife. Also, it's really coming on nicely. It's really healthy. We've got like flower buds coming here. So in a few weeks' time, that will be a mass of white flowers. That'll be really nice. I'm standing now was all bramble. The whole section of this where that manhole cover is was covered in bramble. Out into the field, you got the fire pile there, which I need clearing and raking out, but past that even was bramble. Where the blue sheeting is, that was all bramble. You could get through to where the rope ladder is and stuff behind, but that was all thick with bramble. There was a path through there which was approximately 4 foot wide. There was a gap of grass, so the bramble was removed simply by cutting it down, burning up the bramble, and then mowing regularly. I applied a grass seed to it, some of which has taken well, some of which hasn't. You can see the really bright green grass, that's where the grass seed was applied. A lot of this is actually just grass that's recovered from underneath the bramble, so that's good. The blue patch there is going to be fenced around, and is either going to be the start of the vegetable bed or possibly even the apiary for the bees. Plans for that still in progress. This area here was all sort of scrub. I've cleared that and have replanted some nicer specimen trees in there to open it out, and again get wildlife benefit. Of course, the log store. that's step inside out of the wind. Yeah, this was a good weekend's project, this, and again quite a bit of money. It's all money. It's trying to balance time and money, and that's the hardest thing, I think, is trying to rationalise your spending and organise your spending. I'm certainly not made of money, but not by a long way, but I work hard, and at the minute I'm piling all of my spare cash back into this place. I'm hoping at some point that will slow down a bit, but for the time being it's still very, very much ongoing. Remains of last year's wood pile, beginnings of the new choppings for this year. Stepping out here, of course, there is the hut, which you've all seen before. So this little project was one of the really early projects on this site, and has been brilliant. It's been such a great thing to have down here, just to step out of that wind or step out of the rain and just be in an environment which is, you know, comfortable. You can cook, eat, you can socialise here. It can be, you know, I had people down, and it was a hub for the cooking and the socialising. Although we were sat outside, it was really nice to have a little space that you could come, you could wash up. It's got a sink, you know. Very, very basic build, just as cheaply as I could. All of this like reclaimed timber. It's a former ice cream trailer, as you all know. So the old serving hatch windows, leave those on, just board over the windows that you don't want. The stove I had to buy new, unfortunately, but it's a very, very cheap basic stove, not suitable for someone's house. It doesn't have any of the HETAS approvals at all, but for in here, fine, ideal. If I'd known someone that could have made a gas bottle stove for me, I'd have probably commissioned one of those, but this was easy, and the company that was selling it happened to be in Aylesbury, where I live, so super easy to go and pick it up as well. Standard flue kit, flue lining, all available on eBay, but that came in afterwards. I had the hut before. I installed that afterwards. A little view out the window, little Wilma. Bit confused as to where that noise has come from. But there's the woodland. There's the woodland up there. Not much has happened in there, and that's great. That's the way it needs to be. I need to keep on top of it, look after it, keep it suitable for campers and things. But just where the camera's pointed now, one of my really early Old Allens videos, possibly even Old Allens 1, most of it was filmed underneath the tarp out there, just where I'm pointing now. That's before I got the hut in here. So I had a tarp in the woods as a bit of shelter. So down here on the edge of the woods again, this is other bits we've done really. This bit has been cleared through largely. I mean, there's a nice wild rose there, so that's going to stay. I might sort of like provide some sort of shaping for it, possibly with a hazel framework, just to neaten it up a bit, but essentially it's going to stay there as it is. You just look through to the clearing up there, and we've got the new fence line and more of the hedging planted in along there and out along the riverbank there. And that just helps. The idea of that is just to help strengthen the bank up as much as anything else really, and thicken up the boundary line. I've left the gap on purpose between there and there, just so I can access the stream for water collection, etc. There's that. Still tidying up an old fence to do, but you know, this is a nice little campground down here for people. Furthest point from the road and furthest point from the farm up there, and the houses which are over there. So as a camp area, this is great, and it's close to the hut and everything else. And my plan is to put in up here composting loo. I have facilities as well. Yeah. So there's plenty to go on. So current projects in my head or underway are the composting loo. That's quite a priority and quite an easy one for me to get underway. I'm currently on a beginner's introductory beekeeping course because I quite like to keep bees down here. Whether or not the bees actually happen this year or next year, I don't know. Possibly, because I've got a lot going on this year. They'll be next year, but you know, at least I'll have the theory in my head. If I find, so if there's somebody else on the course with me that wants to get in on it but doesn't have a suitable area of land, then you know, we could probably come to some sort of deal on doing it together and using the land down here. So that's coming up. Yeah. So composting loo coming up. Campouts for YouTube subscribers coming up. Bee stuff coming up. More planting of fruit trees coming out. I've got fruit trees on order, and they should be coming out any time now, because they're going to be coming bare root, and they need to be. I need to check that up actually. Just check that the order was there, because I placed it months ago. I placed it in December or something. Anyway, so that's to come up, planting of that stuff, because I've got a mulberry tree which is in honour of my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. That's coming down here. I'm going to try grafting from some apple stock which is at the manor house, and of course I'll do the pruning there of their fruit trees, and I've never tried grafting before, and I'm going to try and graft some of these other varieties onto the world's most disgusting apple tree, which is in the middle of the field. Camp's coming up. Everything is about to burst into life and burst into leaf. I've already got, you know, the perennial plants popping up through the ground. One problem I do have, which is a real shame, and I haven't yet worked out what to do with it. This little fella here, which has every right to be in these woods, is dog's mercury. That is massively poisonous. It's poisonous to us, it's poisonous to cows, it's poisonous to sheep, it's poisonous to pigs. You know, it's a killer. And it's all over the place in these woods. It literally carpets the woods. That and the nettles basically carpets these woods. So one of my plans was to fence off an area of woodland and keep some pigs. Have a couple of pigs in the wood. I can't do that until I've sorted out the dog's mercury, till I've got rid of the dog's mercury, because or certainly in that area of woodland, because it'll kill them, and there's no point in introducing livestock that's going to be poisoned and at best struggle and at worst be killed as a result of a plant in the woodland. So although pigs are famously robust and really, really strong digestively, that is poisonous to them. So that needs sorting out. I haven't worked it out because I really don't want to use a weed killer down here. Tucked inside my little deer fence is this one here, which is a Morello cherry. So mulched in, protected from rabbits and deer, hopefully. Over there is a damson, and over just in front of Wilma, that is a plum, Burbank tangerine, and that there is a mulberry, King James. So here's the little mulberry tree, mulberry twig as it is at the moment. As I say, it's a King James, mulberry King James. Here's the little plum, Burbank's tangerine. Now this, unfortunately, in transit, got a lot of damage to it, but I've put it in anyway, and hopefully it'll sort itself out. There's still a few good shoots on there, and of course the main leader is a good one, so fingers crossed for that. Other things that are going on, this is where the vegetables are going to be, and as you can see, I've started putting in some fencing posts. These are, as you can see, very old posts, but they are going to be used to fence this area in. They're the original posts from the fence with the roadway, so they're at least 40 years old, probably quite a lot more than that as well. So they were in the woods when the new fence had been put in, and I've just retrieved them and a load of the rails, and we're going to make a new fence for the vegetable plot. Now this doesn't look like much, but tucked in here in the middle of all this blackthorn is an experimental graft. This is a plum from the manor house where I work, and in pruning that last year I saved these, and I've now just grafted onto blackthorn, because blackthorn and plum are from the same family, so in theory that should grow out and continue as a plum, a fruiting plum, but we will have to see. So that's an experiment. There's another one of them just up here, as you can see, so they'll just come into leaf. It's an experiment. I have no idea if it's going to work, but it's worth a try. It should, in theory it should work, but it is an experiment. Oh, incidentally, these posts for this area here, they're not concreted in, they're just literally dug a hole, backfill the hole with the original soil and tamp it in. You will get some sort of movement on them, but you can, you know, just repack it as needs be, but they're going to be fine for that. I really detest concrete. I did a lot of time working with concrete a few years ago, and I hate cement. I hate cement dust. It's foul stuff, and it's environmentally it's a nightmare. So I'm trying not to use it at all on this site, because there's no reason for me to use it. Hopefully there's no reason for me to use it. So yeah, they're just dug in. As I say, the wood store, which is just hiding behind that section there, and you can see it there, posts on that, they don't use any concrete either, so that's held up very well. So the assistant's back in the van, ready to go home. Yep, that looks like she's ready.